Welcome back to the Driving Asylum double feature, our infamous third segment with me, Bill Van Ryn, and Sam Panico. So I really dig this movie. For the first time I saw this movie, I was in love, and the chase scenes are what sell it for me. Don't you think they were pretty impressive? Oh wait,
Very
sorry. There we go.
I'm all about the lab, is what I'm about.
Yeah, that too. It was beautiful.
And Dustin brought up the soundtrack. We didn't realize it. That's the Vinegar Syndrome theme. Comes from this movie. The little 5-second thing that starts a Vinegar Syndrome movie. It came from this song, right from the beginning.
So that whole building that they were working in and living in, I guess, that was amazing. I want to go live there.
Oh, that big spinning light! I told you when you saw it, I knew you were going to love it. That big circle light that was above it.
That would look so nice in this room I'm sitting in right now.
I want that double-seated red couch they had brain sex on. I mean, not before they had brain sex on, but that big red shiny couch was wonderful.
Brain sex doesn't involve any bodily fluids. You could still sit on that couch and
he looked
feel
like he was spent. He looked like his pants were a mess. Whenever she cut me, like, ugh.
That's something I hadn't considered. Yeah, there are physical results from those kinds of interactions.
Yeah. But yeah, and this movie's got white people kung fu, as I always call it, like some wacky. Don't call it Charlie's Angels kung fu. A lot of like leg sweeps and flying leg scissors and stuff you could never do in a real fight.
Bullshit.
All bullshit kung fu.
But fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I mean I had no problems with it.
Yeah, I was mostly impressed by the praying mantis style defensive postures that they have.
Sleeves of her outfit too.
Like you're really exposing yourself to a lot, putting your limbs out there like that.
Yeah, a lot of people like. Yeah, usually you keep your arms in tight because you want to keep your kidneys protected, but she was just like.
That's for striking, like putting your arms out.
She was dancing like she was at the upstage.
Even I know that. Yeah, that was more ballet.
Yeah, she was getting all over it, but whatever. Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee said, you come up with your own style. Her style was wild interpretive dance with leg scissors. So, I mean, whatever it takes. She died real quick, though. She got one chop to the head and she was out.
Yeah. Wow. Where to begin with this movie? It's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's absolutely all over the place. Like it's sort of a spy caper and an action film. And of course, there's this character, this macho character who's known for being a stud. And he's got this erotic collision in his future with this attractive woman with whom he has tremendous sexual chemistry, but who also turns out to be his enemy and tries to kill him.
His pickup line, you got nice legs.
Yeah.
That's it.
And all the women in this operation too. It's an all female operation, so they're really, and they admit that they are very horny.
Yeah.
That's all they talk about.
I was wondering too, like, how do we determine seniority within the organization? I think it's by hemline. Like, the younger you are, like, you have like longer pants. But as you move up in seniority, you move to like hot pants. And it felt like hot pants was the main outfit, like the main fighters, and then you get like panties, and
Yeah,
you get a throwing star for your panties.
with a throwing star
Yeah.
holster. Well, that was pretty impressive.
It almost was like Urban Claw kind of, where they wore multiple panties. You know what I mean? Like, they had like under panties and then like big frilly ones for the top. But who am I to talk about
It'd
that?
probably be pretty easy to do something like that if it was a big magnet. If you had a
Yeah,
magnet
maybe.
sewn into your panties, and then you could just, attach
It just
it.
feels like if you suddenly had to sit down and drive a car, could you get caught? You know what I mean? Like, you got to be careful with your throwing star. I keep my throwing star in the drawer. I have a drawer for my throwing star. Becca's probably going to get it out and throw it at me right now. It's too heavy.
It is more comfortable than the Orgasmatron.
Yeah, here it is. This is my throwing star. I keep it in the drawer for
Oh.
protection in case a ninja comes in the house. I just like, right? I mean, who amongst us didn't go to the flea market and amass ninja weapons and have them? But yeah,
What was that?
Huh?
That teeny tiny little knife that the kid killed the Chinese man with.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was a throwing star, but it wasn't. It was a little knife.
yeah, little tiny one. My throwing star is not even sharp, so I'm going to throw it at somebody. It's just going to bounce off them. They're going to
doesn't
bruise
look
really
very-
bad, a nasty bruise. Like, I shouldn't have broken in his house. He gave me a nasty bruise. All of a sudden, he was sleeping in bed, and a large, rotund man jumped up and hit me with a throwing star. What is happening?
You need a star sharpener.
I think we start using them for shaving. Can you put my throwing star in the special place, please? Thank you.
Is there a place you can take your star and have it sharpened?
I don't know.
There used to be that cutlery world in Monroeville Mall by the bridge that Tom Savini fell in. They used to have that knife store in Monroeville Mall. And I would take all my stars there and get them sharpened. But now it's been gone so long. You know?
A knife store in Monroeville Mall.
Yeah, there was like a cutlery world there.
I don't remember that place.
There was one in Century 3, too. There was a knife store there, too.
Wow.
There are a lot
I
of
always
knives
think
there.
of that when I watch Dawn of the Dead. I always think about how they have that gun shop in Monroeville Mall.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. But
Yeah.
when you said a knife store, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and I will not ship you a throwing star. I'm not going to get in trouble. He said they don't have them in Canada. I won't ship you one. I'm sorry.
It's cheaper to mail than the DVD.
Yeah, it's cheaper. You either get a DVD or you get a throwing star. We don't want to get you in trouble, so we'll send the DVD. You can use it as a throwing star. You can use it as like a super disc kind of thing.
Well, Matt, we realize that one would sharpen one's star on one's own, but could you take it to a jeweler and say, look, just don't ask any questions.
Yeah,
Just make this as sharp as possible, and I am not a ninja.
yeah. Actually, you just go into there and you throw a smoke cloud in, and whenever it comes up, you just grab the guy and you like sharpen
The
it.
smoke clouds always fascinated me.
Oh,
I was like, wow, that would take a lot of mastery to
yeah.
make something like that happen.
Yeah, but the best bad guys have good. She
Without
had
special
a
effects.
great smoke cloud in this.
Oh yeah.
She was like,
What was that?
Have you ever seen Fulci's Conquest? And then threw it, and it was like fog everywhere. It was amazing. She did it. Yeah, that's how she escaped. Do you think the end was a setup for a sequel? I think they were angling for a sequel there.
Possibly.
Yeah. As all these women just come on in his room. He was trying to play chess.
Here, I'm putting you full screen so I can blow my nose.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. In this light, it's not as bad. The kitchen light, you can see my face looks kind of Freddy Kruegerish. I have like some redness there, but this is much better. This is a throwing star practice. Got hurt as a kid. My brother used to amass ninja weapons too, and it was frightening because, like, what are you gonna do when you're 10 with nunchucks? You're gonna hit your brother with them,
Right.
Yeah. Mike brought up the cage specimens. I think we can all agree one of the cage specimens was what's his name from House by the Cemetery.
Dr. Freudstein.
Dr. Freudstein was down there. He hadn't yet lost his hand, but totally Dr. Freudstein in the basement there.
Yeah.
And a basketball player with a sloshy brain, kind of like Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 kind of brain.
That was amazing. It took me a while to realize that that was what was going on with this guy, is that she had cut the top of his head off and replaced it with some kind of a glass or plastic covering. And there was a light in there too.
Yeah.
It would be a great Halloween costume.
It's very, you've seen Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, right? Where they fix Billy's brain and then whoever his name's brain is, and he just has his brain in a jar like that the whole movie.
I don't think I ever saw that. No.
Oh man, you got to see it because it kind of takes like the first two, while not completely realistic, we're still based in reality. And this one, like we fixed his brain, and it's just like literally a clear dome with its head floating in it with red stuff floating. He gets mental.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
I didn't know what I'd been missing.
3, 4, and 5 are something else. I mean, 4 is about bugs and Christmas, and 5 is like Pinocchio redone as a slasher.
5 is the one that Mickey Rooney was in.
Yeah, total bullshit. That he's like, we got to run these guys out of town, and then by the 5th movie, he's like, yeah, I'll take it. That's fine. I'll be in it.
But truthfully, they may not have told him that he was going to be in a Silent Night, Deadly Night.
No, they were like, you're in a movie called The Toy Maker. And he's like, oh, I can do that. Sure, this isn't a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. You're like, no, it's not.
He didn't see it coming.
No. Hey, what was Nancy Kwan's plan? Like, what's her end game? Like, just I want to experiment on people. Very Blood Island. I mean, if you're going to do Blood Island, do it in the Philippines. I mean, they picked the right place. They had Vic Diaz, like, you know. But, like, she doesn't, like, it's not like we talked while we were watching it, Bill. She doesn't have, like, Invasion of the B-Girls plan, right? She just kind of is doing it.
I think she was just more on a power trip because she just was one of these scientists that just wanted to do it because she can do it.
Like a Mengele kind of thing, just like...
Yeah, because she was completely amoral. She reminded me a little bit of the Doctor in Mansion of the Doomed with all those people in the basement that she had messed up, and she just didn't even care. She's like, oh, these are creatures that I created. Well, no, these are people that you messed up.
It's kind of Ilsa where she's like, yeah, I just sometimes like to put women on glass blocks and ice blocks and see what happens. Oh, man, I totally forgot my point about something I wanted to raise about Troll 2 real quick. I believe that the boy from Troll 2 grows up and marries the girl who wears the Night Killer mask at the end of Night Killer in the connected universe of Claudia Fragasso. I forgot to mention that, Bill. They both had troubled childhoods, and they get together.
I think that Dr. Harris from Invasion of the B-Girls, she was definitely... I've said this before, she was more Valerie Solanas.
Yeah.
But there was no feminism in what Nancy Kwan was doing. Dr. Sue, I think, was her name in the movie. And she was completely amoral. Well, so was Dr. Harris. But she just, like I said, she just wanted to do it because she could do it. And there was no feminism involved in what she was doing, even though she was completely surrounded by females. What she was really doing was removing the bodily autonomy of people, which had nothing to do with any kind of empowerment. This was not empowerment. This was tyranny.
Even when she finds out that her experiments escaped, she's like, I'm going to finish the surgery and keep going. Like, someone will take care of it.
Right, yeah. She was just like, get this thing away from me because I messed it up.
She's kind of like Fu Manchu's daughter, Sumaru, but unlike her, like Sumaru wants to create like women as a dominant species, or like what's that Betty Davis TV movie? The secret agent one that she's in. Like
it was theatrical in the UK. I just ran an ad for it.
That's wow! You know what I mean? It's like most of those evil female villains like want to make a women-run matriarchy that runs the world, right? And she's just kind of like, I just want to make people do weird shit. I got a basketball player, and I just want to put a siren on his head. and
I
all
think she felt like she could control women better than she could control men.
she had to chop men up to control men. She didn't have to make women. Although she was gonna cut up the redhead. You know what I mean? That she was gonna do a bit of a section.
Well, she was mad at her.
Yeah.
It was kind of like her punishment. But I really laughed when they have the body of the athlete, and she's like, oh, this is a man who was a great track. He could run the world record. She's like, let's prepare him for a leg transplant. Like taking the legs off of him and putting them on somebody else would make them a track star.
Also, they had like the eyeballs just floating there and just different body parts, and then the girl just like shoots everything. I like that all the other women, the good women or the non-evil women, whatever, all got killed, and it was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Like, no, like we were kind of on their side. Like, yeah, it's fine. Who cares? As long as the guy gets out, we're good.
Mike Justice, he says Sig Haig was cute. He was cute in this movie, but he also reminded me of that 80s porn star, Chad Douglas. There were a couple of scenes where, not all the time, but he was sitting in the office and he was talking to Dr. Sue, and there were a couple of shots where he looked just like Chad Douglas from the 1980s. It was creepy. But he did not look Sid Haigish at all in this film, I didn't think.
No, and he makes it out of it, right? Like he doesn't get killed.
I was just going to ask you. I don't think anything happens to him.
He stabbed that basketball player and just went doo 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 and walked away. I think that's the last you see of him.
Unless I missed it.
So did Dr. Freudenstein got out too. I didn't see anything that happened to him either. He kind of just skipped town and went up to Boston like a Mighty Mighty Boston song.
No, I think I saw him go down.
Oh,
There was a scene where a bunch of the creations they ran up behind these chicks with machine guns, but the villains. But once the people that were escaping got the upper hand, they shot the experiments too. They all died. That was really low.
it's very Bondish at the end where there's always this scene of people just shooting each other, and like people in uniforms just kind of rolling in. Yeah, this movie reminds me of Fire. I think it's Firecracker is another one that's like a shot in the Philippines, martial arts kind of. But that has Darby Hinton in it, so already better, but pretty good too. Also, Video Nasty. But hey, I dug this movie. I haven't seen it before, but I watched it again this time, and it was a good one to watch and enjoy. And
it's a good time.
Yeah, it's a great one.
I can't remember if I got this on Blu-ray. I think I did.
I think it's worth getting it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's probably on the pile of stuff that I bought and never opened.
Yeah.
as if I actually watch movies anymore.
Yeah. Hey, I got some movies in. You want to see them?
I do.
Here's what we got this week. These are all from MVD. Becky, which is about my wife. A post-apocalyptic story about my wife. Pretty good.
Becky.
We got Men at Work, a movie that was kind of hard to find for a little bit with the Sheena and Estevez brother team. That's pretty cool. And finally, Bill, we looked at the ad for it earlier, so I'm super excited. Last American Virgin on Blu-ray.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. There's something going on with the pants on. I don't know. But it's got like the old video store stickers on it too, which is kind of cool. It's a nice package.
Beautiful.
And, I really like the side of the package where it looks like an old blank tape. So pretty nice.
I love that. Everything about it.
Yeah. MVD's putting out some MGM and Canon stuff too now. So excited to see stuff. They just put out Kino just put out that Missing in Action stuff too. So a lot of Canon stuff coming out. So pretty exciting.
You're going to have to let me borrow your Last American Virgin Blu-ray so I can look at Joe Rubo's ass.
Sure.
In Ultra HD.
Yeah. That scene is like shot for shot from Lemon Popsicle.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. Good night, Paul. I only have one Lemon Popsicle movie left, and I don't think I can do it, but I'm going to do it for science. You know. Oh,
Another thing about Wonder Woman that I thought was really interesting. We were talking earlier about being tonally different. As
mhm.
crazy as this movie was, like going from one extreme to another, it never lost that tone.
No,
This doesn't have that same issue that we talked about with Troll 2.
this has a more cynical edge to it. You know what I mean? Like the hard-boiled kind of hero, and kind of like a little bit James Bondy. You know what I mean? Like travelogue kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to say the least. Yeah,
yeah.
they really played that up.
His gun is super impractical too. It only holds 2 shots. Like, and it doesn't
Yeah.
have any range. It's like a fucking Corsair pistol. It's like, you know what I mean? It's not a great
He's
weapon.
just that good. He only needs 2 shots. Unlike the people who had machine guns that were chasing him on foot
Oh,
during that amazing rickshaw chase. He's running down the road and they have machine guns and they can't hit him. Like you're right in front of him.
he also the bondness of this is all those girls kidnap him, take him at one point when he's sneaking in. They take his gun, they take him to meet Nancy Kwan. It's like
Yeah.
you shoot him. You know what I mean? I saw that old Saturday Night Live sketch where they have all the old villains get together and they're like, "Do you have any advice?" Yeah, if you capture Bond, don't tell him your plan. Just shoot him in the head. It's fine. Like, it's probably the best thing to do. And yeah, they just bring him in, and then she has brain sex with him, and says, "Bring him up to my office in a bit."
It got interrupted.
Yeah,
I don't think
he
they
was
ever.
done quick, and she was like, "Enough."
Yeah, that's right. He couldn't handle it.
It was his first time. His first.
She should have known. Yeah, I mean, what else was he going to do his first time?
Yeah, he's like, man, this girl's really turning me on. And Dale Arden was like, "What did you say, Flash?" That's my other brain sex experience.
I
I had
forgot
no
about
idea
that.
what that meant when I was a kid. When that
They're
scene-
having like the psychic phone
Yeah.
call.
yeah,
That movie is so awesome.
yeah,
My Flash Gordon experience was one of the best movie going experiences of my life. It was a matinee. It was like a Saturday afternoon, and it was full of kids. Just everybody was into it. Everyone was cheering. Like in that, scene with the Birdmen, the Hawkmen. Everybody was really cheering and into it. And when Flash Gordon like comes through on the front of that rocket ship at the end, everybody was cheering. It
rocket
was
ship
amazing.
Ajax.
Ajax, War Rocket Ajax.
Yeah, my favorite. I saw it twice in the same day. That's how excited I was. It used to be dollar
Oh.
movie days in our theater on it was Thursdays in Newcastle, and I talked my parents into it. Like, can we just watch it again? It's so good. Okay, and I just remember just being even more excited the second time. You know what I mean? I just like I can't believe how good this is. And it was. I was so amped up for it, especially like you had Star Wars 2 years before, and you're like, yeah, man, this is gonna be great, and it lived up to it.
Of course, I watched it every time it was on HBO too.
It's on all the time too. It was great.
Got to see Brian Blessed as many times as in that leather fetish gear.
Yeah, it's got a lot to it, and
At least unpredictable.
yeah, no, that's good. Brian Bless is very on brand, so I can see it. There's a lot of the other thing too. That's weird about this is none of the bad guys have guns that match. They have guns all from different eras. Like someone has like a German, like kind of grease gun kind of thing. Like it's weird. Like I'm so used to like bad guys, and maybe it's my GI Joe experience, but all the Cobras have the same guns, and it's like Nancy Kwan was just like, yeah, it's not really important. We'll just give them whatever. They're uniform.
Yeah, I mean, look at that place where she was operating, and she seemed to have limitless wealth. She had this beautiful facility she was in with a high tech rotating flashing light in her laboratory, which probably cost her the equivalent of millions back then. So
Yeah.
why couldn't she just buy a whole bunch of really tight weapons for her crew? She just couldn't do it. She was like, no, whatever you have,
I think kind of like me not wanting any white people to wait on me in a sushi restaurant, or like hibachi. That's how I feel about she should have been about her help. Like it seemed like all the gaijin or like the white people that she hired were all bad at what they do. You know what I mean? Like they all screwed up versus like
yeah.
her help did a lot better. I don't know.
That'll teach her to have
Yeah.
all those white ladies around.
Yeah, they
when,
just kind of like screwed up and like they're more willing like just shoot. Don't have this wacky praying mantis fight. Just like shoot her.
Jim Drummond, it's possible that I could have seen Flash Gordon in a theater with you. Jim and I have known each other since grade school.
Oh wow.
It was just a really it was really amazing that building that she was in. There was that scene where they were marching her down a hallway, and the blonde lady that turned at the end, Linda. No, her name was Linda. I don't know what the blonde lady's name was, but she was holding her at gunpoint, walking her down this hallway. And of course, she knocks her out and makes an escape. But it was just so gorgeous. It's just like this mid-century, amazing. What was it? It wasn't a home. It was like an industrial facility.
Yeah, I was thinking like like a power plant kind of thing. But I love it. I think it's a great base. I think that's my favorite thing about like Eurospy stuff is the bad guys' bases. That's why Diabolic's great, because Diabolic's base is better than any bad guys.
John Strikers, how dare you? That was high technology she had in that laboratory. She paid more than $5. She paid
And
at
I
least
said
15.
Kung Fu is very William Shatner on Star Trek Kung Fu. A lot of like flying drop kicks and leg scissors and weird like foot sweeps. White Lady Fu, I guess is what you call it, that style.
It's Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, Charlie's Angels. You're right. You can guess what my favorite episode of Charlie's Angels is, right?
What?
The one where they go to jail and what's her name's the warden?
Who's the warden?
Mary Warnoff's the warden.
Oh. God, I've never seen that.
Oh, man.
I don't think I watched Charlie's Angels all that much.
Well, my dad was a big fan of it, so I got to see it.
Yeah. Everyone's dad was a big fan.
My grandfather he had the Farrah Fawcett poster, like a kid, but he had it in his room.
Wow.
Yeah. He had that and he had the Heather Thomas one. Remember that one of like the hot tub with her getting out of it?
Yeah.
He had that for years. That was like a big fave.
You used to see those at Murphy's. You go like to Murphy's and flip through the posters.
Yeah. That was a great time though, looking through the Murphy posters.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about Ames coming back? That's pretty wild, huh?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a big rumor. They're gonna open a couple of stores, test it out. So excited. Hey, next week, by the way, we didn't even say next week's movies are Mark of the Devil.
No.
Isn't it Mark of the Devil? That's what I thought it was.
Mark of the Witch.
Mark of the Witch. See, confused. Mark of the Witch. Mark of the Devil is the one with the Barth bag. Mark of the Witch. And the second movie is Witchfinder General. Double witch episode.
And
yeah,
your favorite ghoul, Uncle Spooky, is going to be here next week too.
Yes. He picked Mark of the Witch, so that's a cliffhanger. Will it make up for past films? I'd say yes. I say he's done pretty well, other than he's had one faux pas, but it's okay. Yeah,
we just like to tease him about it.
Yeah. But that'll be exciting. So, hey, my weird question is, Bill, from this podcast.
Yes.
If you had a pick between John Cougar or Billy Joel, who would you pick?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's tough.
Can I have a third choice?
Brian Adams.
Okay, all three of them
No,
on a rocket ship, send it one way to the moon.
yeah, only one of these guys, only Billy Joel or John Cougar are getting out. Only one.
If I had to pick one, I guess it would be John Cougar.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't like Billy Joel.
Huh. You know, that was my first concert.
Billy Joel.
Yeah, the Allentown tour.
I realize I'm in the minority.
No, it's good.
Seems to love Billy Joel.
Yeah. John Cougar always struck me as weird because he wanted us to like embrace his new name. You know?
Yeah, he regretted being John Cougar and he wanted to be John Mellencamp again. He regretted a lot. Do you remember the first John Cougar album where he had makeup on?
Oh yeah.
So whatever somebody I guess it was some Svengali agent must have been telling him to do that shit.
Also, it's funny because like What I Like About You.
He's blaming it on that.
What's the Romantics song? The show was like the one romantic song. Was that Secrets? There's one song of theirs. What I Like About You. Yeah, that's one it is. And John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band sound exactly the same. Then like 5 years later, John Cougar had a song that sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know?
He had Edith Massey on the cover of one of his albums. That's
Cougar
a good
did?
enough reason to pick him.
Billy Joel was in a metal band though called Attila, which is not good either.
I didn't know they were a metal band.
I mean, hard rock, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. And Billy Joel has the Bette Midler's workout theme from Ruthless People. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Billy Joel. I mean, I kind of like. I have fond memories of The Stranger.
Yeah.
That whole album, The Stranger, because I think one of my parents had it, and I used to play that one. I like that one and that album. I mean, and
I think everything up until Christy Brinkley's good.
Glass Houses, I think, was the other big one.
I like Miami 2035 a lot. I really like that song. I like a lot of his older songs. Then once he gets happy and he's with Christy Brinkley and doing Uptown Girl, it's all kind of cheesy. And then when he became like an important pop artist and we wouldn't do songs.
Yeah. Like
I don't want that shit.
He became like he was McDonald's all of a sudden. Like it was like what I said earlier. It was like a team that you like. Oh, I'm Team Billy Joel.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was that album where he had the nylon curtain. What was it called?
Oh yeah. Well, any of the ones like We Didn't Start the Fire and those songs are horrible.
Oh, that was like he was,
long gone.
Burned out by the time that happened. But
it's funny, we were talking about it when we were watching videos on New Year's of the Elton John comeback post like 82, like with his video, when he started getting videos. Like I'm Still Standing, and I don't like that at all. I disagree with that.
Vince, Hall & Oates they're one of my biggest regrets because I used to always just dismiss them. But now that I'm older, I realize that Hall & Oates had so many hits, and it was a lot of that stuff I love now, especially that 80s stuff. I can remember those 80s songs, and I didn't like them at the time. And now I'm really into the production of those 80s. You're out of touch. That stuff.
Yeah.
I gotta respect Hall & Oates.
Daryl Hall's got a great, of all white boy soul singers.
The best. Yeah, I really like him.
Yeah.
And
what do you think about Paul Young did Every Time You Go, like right after they put it out? And they're like, we already think you sound like Daryl Hall. Like you don't have to like really make it obvious. But he did, so.
Not too long ago, I was watching something on YouTube and I saw a video about that song by Dan Hartman. I Can Dream About You.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a Hall & Oates song. And Dan Hartman wrote it for Hall & Oates and they rejected it because they were recording like one of their big hit albums.
It's in Streets of Fire.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is a great movie.
But now that after I saw that video, I was like, yeah, it does sound just like Daryl Hall, the way he sang it.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a really great song. Yeah, I am on probably on the Billy Joel side, but also it's because Becca reminds me how high she thinks John Cougar is, perhaps a little too much. So and I've been forced to listen to that song "Get Naked" that he put out. It's one of the worst fucking songs ever. Um, it's real bad. Pink House is not a good song either.
Ed brought up Attila.
Oh yes, Attila.
We mentioned Attila, Ed.
Yeah, the liner notes are great. Where it's like Bill Joel only sweats two things: his piano sound and the war in Southeast Asia. Like that's in the liner notes. It's like the cheesiest liner notes. Like, man, Bill. I almost bought a vinyl of it. So I was like, that'd be good to just have around the house. But like my Yentl laser disc that I have for no reason.
Oh, Yentl. I haven't seen that movie in years.
Me either.
That was another HBO movie.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, that was right around the time that Tootsie came out.
Oh, yeah.
And it was one of those gender swap movies. And I totally misread what Yentl was going to be about. I was like, oh, it's another one of those lighthearted comedies about.
It's the Jewish version of Just One of the Guys.
Yeah. Yes.
Another HBO movie that was on all the time. And Comedy Central, too, had on all the time.
It's just the way he makes me feel.
Oh.
Do you like my Doctor and the Medics shirt?
I do. I meant to tell you, I love it. It's wonderful.
I actually made one of these in art class.
Oh, wow.
This exact same design. But it was an actual silk screen. And this was one of my favorite things that I did. And of course, I just did it on like one or two shirts and they're long gone. So I never had any more. So I made this on Shutterfly.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. I got to start making shirts there. I'm going to do I have a few different ideas.
Thank you, Steve Wilson. Was that, I didn't see your comment, so this must have been serendipity.
It was.
Doctor and the Medics are amazing. Now they're just like a, cheesy self-parody act that, the lead singer uses to keep going. But they actually had a lot of really awesome stuff, like this weird sort of like underground sounding psychedelic pop music. And of course I caught on to them because of Spirit in the Sky, like everybody else. And I was amazed that I really liked a lot of their earlier stuff. They only really had like 2 or 3 albums as a band, and then they turned into like, a cover version band. They did You Spin Me Round Like a Record, the Time Warp from Rocky Horror. They covered a Sweet song. I forget which one. But
Oh, man, the Sweet.
before that, they wrote really awesome songs. Like their original material was great. They had this like really bizarre psychedelic sort of approach. The Doctor was a DJ in the UK, and he used to organize these events where they were called like magical mystery tours or something, and you would meet them and they would take you in a van somewhere, and they didn't tell you where they were going to take you.
Oh, wow.
You would just go on this journey with them, and you would end up at this place, and then they would set up and do a gig, and it would be like a party, and a lot of people would drop acid, and you would just be like, freaked out at this festival sort of thing, and then they would take you back, which sounds amazing.
Oh, man, that's a great way to. The guys I told you about from New England that do those crazy movies, like Matt Farley and those guys that did Freaky Farley. He said a couple of years ago they decided to do a thing where they would do tours for fans of their movies. And he said they had it all set up where different actors would come out like surprise you. Like, hey, it's this one character, and he would come in character and talk to you about the movie. And he said like we had like 18 people meet people on the tour, and only like 4 people did the tour. He's like, so by the end of the tour, like, we really lost a lot of money. He goes, but it was fun. He's like, but he's like, I would probably do it again. He's like, so if you ever come to town, we'll just do it. I'm like, okay. I think that's pretty rad. They had a big concert this weekend, and his next movie debuts in March. So pretty excited about it. Freaky Farley's on Tubi. If you guys haven't seen it. It's really weird. It's kind of like a horror Party Beach kind of movie where it's like it's supposed to be a horror movie and it never really is, and it's in black and white. It's pretty wild, so I definitely recommend it. Also this week, Bill, All Shot on Video movie starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. I found some wild ones this time, so I'm really excited.
Such as any previews?
Yeah, a movie called Rot, which I had never heard about. It's shot in Florida, and it's a punk rock zombie movie, but it's really mean-spirited and really weird. A girl, the lead character's girlfriend, is in love with the dead, and she sleeps with a dead body and gets this government disease that they've been putting into dead bodies that causes your body to fall apart. It's pretty good. Way better than you think. I really dug it. And let's see, Zombio, which is a Brazilian remix of Zombie. Satan's Storybook, which has Ginger Lynn in it. It's kind of like a anthology film. It's really strange. One of the actors in it is the writer of The Howling, who plays an evil clown. And Bill, you'll like it because it's a very talky movie where nothing happens literally for like an hour. But it's good. And Ginger Lynn is a ninja that fights the devil. I mean, how do you not want to see that? Blonde Death, which is have you seen that, Bill?
No. Blonde Death?
Yeah, it's a shot on video, obviously, movie, but the guy who wrote it was like he wrote like 3 books. They were all I'll look up his name once I publish it, but he was considered like the last angry gay man is what they called him. But like all of his movies are like super anti-Disney, super anti-California, especially like the right-wing California. And he shot the entire end of that movie in Disney World on camcorders. And the 2 main characters poison everyone in Disney World at the end. And he shot it there. Snuck shot it. It's pretty wild. It's very John Watersy, and not in like a ripoff way. That's about the easiest way I can describe it. I really liked it. And Possibly in Michigan, which is one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. It's the director dated the unicorn killer in college, and when she realized it had kind of a nervous breakdown, so she started making these short movies, and it's kind of like a slasher movie. It's really wild. It's only about 16 minutes, and it's a musical, and it's kind of like a slasher. I really like that a lot. And Bride of Frank, My Lovely Burnt Brother and His Misshapen Brain, Satanic Yuppies, Night of Terror, Streets of Death, which is really good. And Bill, there's the one I'm most excited about is I told you about it, right? The Song of the Sword. It's a shot on video.
Yeah, Sword and Sorcery.
Yeah, it's a shot on video. Lawrence, Kansas made Sword and Sorcery movie with about 6 people in it. Shot in the Coronado castles. Supposedly, the conquistadors explored the whole way up to Lawrence, Kansas, trying to find the city of gold, and they built these castles there. So the scenery looks amazing. It's like a LARP group made it. It's not on IMDb. It's not on Letterboxd. I only found one other site that's ever talked about it, and I am actively looking for the people that made it. So pretty excited. And Bikers vs. Zombies, which is a Phoenix shot one that has literally 1,000 people in the cast. There's like burning zombies. There's also a scene where a biker makes out with a zombie, of course. Pretty good. So I always think of these movies as like very similar to regional movies where they're kind of, it's weird though. Like, and I don't know why this happens. And this is something I'm trying to figure out, where it feels like in the mid 80s to 90s when digital video became really easy to happen, and especially with mom and pops giving them a market to get these movies out, right? That there was this big explosion of homegrown movies, and that people got to make their own films and kind of do whatever they want. And now it's easier than ever to make your own movies, and it doesn't feel like there's this same. There's a lot of streaming movies, but they all feel the same. Versus a lot of the shot on video stuff, it's really idiosyncratic, and a lot of it is super democratic because there's female filmmakers, there's gay filmmakers, you know what I mean? There's black filmmakers, there's every country represented, and it doesn't feel like that as much anymore. So I'm trying to figure that out. But it's cool. It's kind of like discovering things that just nobody wants to talk about anymore. That pretty much everything I do.
Here's some ads we can look at.
Wonderful.
This is from 1980.
Whoa.
In Albuquerque. You know what movie that is?
Yeah. Horror Express.
That's right. This was 1980 in Albuquerque. This is the only place I could find where it ran under this title, The Possessor.
Hey, Matt, thanks. It is in Lindsborg, but the rest of the movie was shot in Lawrence. But thank you. You are correct.
This is another one of my Holy Grail one sheets, if it exists.
That is amazing that
I mean, it may not exist. They may not have actually made a one sheet. This is like It Came from the Grave, which is a retitling of Bob Clark's Death Dream.
But the thing about this is that movie had been playing on TV for at least 7 years by this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you went and you were like, I've seen this. Do you know what I mean? Like that had to happen to a lot of people.
And this was the A feature.
Yeah.
M Plaza 3 was one of those 3-movie cinemas. This wasn't a double feature or anything. Like you were going into a theater to see this as if it was first run, and you were going to sit through Horror Express, which you would be very lucky to sit through Horror Express, I might add. One of the best movies ever made, period.
How great was it seeing it at the drive-in? I think about that sometimes.
Yeah. When I'm having a bad day, sometimes I remember watching Horror Express.
Exactly the same. It's such a good memory.
So here's a lovely duo, Monstroid and Bog.
Whoa.
Yeah. Monstroid, of course, being that Colombian shot film about a water monster that rises out of the lake, a dinosaurish kind of thing. John Carradine is in this movie. He said it was the worst piece of shit he'd ever been in, and he's been in some pieces of shit. Those are his words. And Bog, of course, starring. Well, we did Bog on the show. We watched that on the program, like way back at the beginning. Bog was one of our first season in 2020.
Yeah, wow. I love that illustration with it, though.
What that has to do with Bog, nothing. I don't know what that illustration's from.
How come no one ever did Bog and Bug together?
I don't know. Someone may have.
Yeah.
I just haven't found it yet. That's why I keep doing this stuff. That's why I keep pulling up these ads.
Apache. I love it.
The Apache Drive-In, yeah. Oh, where was that? I
wonder if they had the teepees and stuff like Super 51 had. Super 51 had like a playground that was all teepees and Indian, never would exist today. But
culturally inappropriate.
And then it had like a totem pole on the way out, and it had a little guy waving and it said, "See you before too many moons." And I always got all emotional when I left. When are we coming back? Now it's a Dollar General.
Oh, that's the saddest part of all.
I'll go past it tomorrow and I'll get super sad when I'm going to see my mom tomorrow and I'll see Super 51. Wow, what is this?
Look Alive. What movie is this?
Oh, it's Dead and Buried.
Yes.
I just looked at Jack Albertson. That's how and Melody Anderson. Wow, that's not a good title for this.
Yeah, this was a very strange ad campaign for this film where they retitled it Look Alive. And I actually sent this ad to Gary Sherman, and he was blown away. He had no idea that the movie had ever played theatrically under another title.
It's also weird that the type almost feels like it's just superimposed on the hat. It's not like painted on it for Look Alive. It was
Yeah,
like they grabbed another illustration and did that. And also, like the tagline totally gives away the movie. It's like spoiler warning. Like that's the entire point of the movie.
it is. Yeah, especially the ending.
Yeah, but hey, whatever. Still, it's a cool ad.
Yeah, you know me, you know I love that this movie played under another title in the
Mm-hmm.
United States. Speaking of other titles, here we have a couple of different examples. There's People Toys, which is, of course,
Uh, the one with Sorrel Brook in it, with the throne
yeah,
in the tub.
and Leif
Um,
Garrett.
yeah,
Look what you did to my beautiful face.
yeah. Fuck, I can't remember what it is.
The Devil Times Five,
That's it. Yeah,
aka The Horrible House on the Hill.
yeah.
Chris knew what it was right away, of course.
What's the
So did
captive
Mike
female?
Justice.
And the animals.
The
Wow.
Captive Female. Do you know what movie that is?
No.
We were just talking about it because it shares a title with another movie that happens to be the cover story of the new Drive-In Asylum issue number
Oh,
24.
Scream Bloody Murder.
Yes.
That was actually going to be my guess. That's amazing.
But the Captive Female is the Scream Bloody Murder about the guy with a hook for a hand.
Yeah.
So that's the
And
Captive
Weasel.
Female. And yeah,
Weasel.
he buys her an easel and paints and cooks her a steak, and she lives in a beautiful house, etc., etc.
Oh man,
Okay, moving on.
that's a really good one.
Another AKA the Torturer, which of course is Master of the Hypnotic Eye. The Hypnotic Eye was the original title.
Well,
of
I
this
love
movie.
that hand though. Coming up, that's really cool.
Oh, it's beautiful. Are you familiar with the Hypnotic Eye?
No.
It's sort of like it's almost film noir, but not. It's not a film noir, but it's about this mad hypnotist who has all these shows and he hypnotizes people into doing crazy things on stage. There's an assistant who was the 50-foot woman, Allison Hayes. And she's his assistant, and he hypnotizes beautiful women to want to make out with him after the show. But then after he's done like making love to them, which just involves fully clothed necking for about an hour or however long they do it, and then as soon as it's over, Allison Hayes appears. She keeps these women under hypnotic suggestion and has them disfigure themselves in some crazy way. Like she makes them think they're washing their hair, but they're on fire in front of the stove with a burner burning. And one woman drank lye, and it like scarred her vocal cords and messed up her face. Well, so she keeps leaving this trail of disfigured victims behind wherever the show goes. Panic ensues.
I love it.
Definitely worth speaking
my
out.
list.
Yeah. The Hypnotic Eye.
Man, that's awesome.
Okay, so I guess that was everything I pulled out.
Oh man, I love looking at this stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something else I could find. Oh, here's something you'll think is funny. Well, you know that Paul Bartle movie, Private Parts?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently there were some locations that couldn't handle that title, so they changed the title of the movie to Private Party.
That ad totally makes it look like a horror movie, so I could see people being very upset by that.
You know who that is in the ad?
Mm-mm.
That's Carol Baker from Orgasmo.
Oh, yeah, it is. Wow, okay.
So it's a total paste up, and that tagline is from Blood and Lace.
Oh, I love it.
Wow. Private Party.
Such
Who
a Frankenstein. They probably found out 2 or 3 days before press that they had to change, that they weren't going to run the ad. It was just like, What can you put together? Well, we have these pieces left over from other mats, and they just hastily put them together. But that's awesome.
Here's another thing I love too. This is an actual one sheet for the reissue as Daddy's Deadly Darling, which was in 1984 in New York. And I'm not sure if it played anywhere else under that title, but there actually was a one sheet for it.
It's really nice design too. Wow.
And of course, this was the version of the movie that was also known as Daddy's Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And this had that weird introduction where they show her in the asylum and she's played by a man in a wig. And then she escapes by making out when another nurse makes out with a doctor. She escapes and steals the keys to her bug, and that's her trucking down the road. Somebody's waiting for you somewhere down the road. Keep on driving.
Yeah.
There's also a new ending on that movie too.
How many different like revised cuts? Because that's not the only one that has different footage.
There are 3 versions. Yeah.
There's the Strange Exorcism of Lynn Hart one too. Doesn't have
yes,
or the Strange Love Exorcist too.
Yes, the original cut was just known as Pigs, and that was Mark Lawrence's original version. And then in '74, another distributor bought it and had that new footage inserted with the exorcism, and that was the strange exorcism of Lynn Hart and Love Exorcist. It was also known as.
It should have played with House of Exorcism.
And Bloodpin was another title, but that was the same version with the exorcism scene at the beginning. And then in the 70s, I think it was 77, a new distributor bought it and had a completely new introduction shot and an epilogue as well. So that movie had 3 different versions.
Man.
But I just thought it was interesting that there was actually a one sheet for this little one date retitle of Pigs. This was like in grindhouses in New York in 1984. And I think it played in Florida somewhere as well, too. It was like in a multiplex in Florida as Daddy's Deadly Darling. Isn't that crazy?
Then it already played the CBS late movie at this point. So I think it played there in like 77 or 78. So this is, you know what I mean? It was something that got people had seen.
I don't think this was ever on the CBS late movie.
I thought Pigs was for some reason.
If you ever find it shown on the CBS late movie, please tell me, because
Let me look at the list of what played. Hold on a second.
if only there was a way we could find out.
Yeah, here I got it. CBS late movie titles and air guide. Maybe that site's bookmarked. No, it didn't. I don't know why I would think that. Maybe did it run under Daddy's Deadly Darling? No. But Bug did.
Here's another great AKA. Walk of the Dead.
The Death Line?
No. It's a Paul Naschy film. It's Vengeance of the Zombies.
Whoa. That's one of the few Nashies I haven't seen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a zombie movie, but not a George Romero zombie movie. It's like a voodoo zombie movie. But it's this, of course...
Like Lips of... what do you call it? Not Lips of Blood. Grapes of Death, the Jean Rollin one, is also kind of a zombie movie, but it's also kind of like The Crazies.
It's more like Crazies, yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen Night of the Hunted, by the way? I meant to ask you if you've seen that.
I'm not sure.
It's Bridget Lottie, is how you say her last name, is in it. She's a woman that keeps losing her memory over and over again. And she has like some disease that causes all these people, they keep them in this institute. And because eventually they'll totally lose everything about themselves and only know how to kill and have sex. It's kind of like Shivers, but by Jean Rollin. I think you'll really dig it.
Just regular non-blood rare.
Yeah.
Of course, Mike Justice.
By the way, Mike Justice brought up Sybil Danning. My favorite thing to do is ask Mike to write me Sybil Danning tweets. If you've been on Sybil Danning's Twitter, you'll know what I mean. It's pretty wild.
Here's one last one we can look at. Speaking of Mimsy Farmer, who was just in Four Flies on Grey Velvet, which we watched last week. Cult of the Damned, which is the movie Perfume of the Lady in Black.
Yeah. Wow. That's a not bad Americanized title for it. Not as good as Perfume of the Lady in Black. That's a really dark giallo. It's a F giallo, a very, very rough ending, very bleak. I mentioned
like Troll 2.
Yeah. Like Troll 2 ending. Your mom gets eaten. It's funny the whole way, and then kid's mom gets eaten in front of him. I like that they took her from the shower. There was still some of her in the shower, too.
I know. What happened there?
I don't know. She shouldn't have ate that apple. And that's, what's funny is like forbidden fruit at the end. She ate the apple. Oh, come on.
Way to go, Eve.
Yeah. Way to do it. Yeah.
Well, have we come to the end of this episode?
I think we have. I'm excited for next week. I'm excited to catch up with Uncle Spooky, who's also doing his Monday movies again. So if you want to see that, you should reach out to him. He posted a thing about it. He's going to start showing live streams again online.
Oh, far out. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he just posted about it today. He said, if you want the secret link. Yes. So I'm actually off Monday, too, which I'm very excited about. Beyond belief. So
am I.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have worked, but I just chose not to.
I'm off. I'll be working my other job that day, my freelance job that day, but it's nice to only work one job a day and not two, which is good.
Yeah.
Dan's going to watch the rest of Troll 2. I'm going to watch something shot on video. Oh, that's the other one, Bill, before we go. Limbo, which is wild. It's about a girl who takes a guy home from a bar, and before he can rape her, she kills him, and then she kind of gets Jacob's Ladder, but it's made before Jacob's Ladder, and it has crazy video effects. It's AGFA put it out. It's really good. I'm really excited about these movies and to share them with people. I really think there's going to be some stuff coming up this week that you'll look and be like, wow, where did this come from? Which I love that kind of stuff, as you know, like finding stuff and sharing it. So really excited about it.
Right on. Okay.
Thanks for doing the show again this week. I'm excited to come back next. Everybody that watched it with us too, and enjoyed it hopefully, and we'll come back next week.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. And like we said, Uncle Spooky will be on next week's show. I'm back next Saturday night, 8 p.m., same time, same place. Be well, be safe. See you then. Good night.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.